Hey everybody, welcome to Field of Dreams on ACTN. I'm Steve David, I'm your host. Today I'm struggling. I'm struggling because half of my contingent is stuck up in traffic. So I'm going to go and start with the other half. Welcome to the set, Anthony Clark.
Always a pleasure, Steve. Thank you very much.
So we have Jeff who is stuck in traffic now, so
yes.
we can't wait for him because we can't leave our viewers waiting. So we want to talk today about football as a young man's sport. Football, which is a young man's sport, and we're doing okay. We seen the game a couple of days ago, but we still need to get some more young life injected into our team. And I know you have a lot of information, or not information, but you're always advocating for the programs, the systems that we should have under 13, under 16 to move into the national team. So let's talk a little bit about that while we wait for Jeff to get here and tell me what you think, having seen the game, and a couple of the players from the youth program is in it now. So tell me what you think.
Well, Steve, let's start back from the 1980s.
Mm-hmm.
You had the under-16 team with Atapi, Arvin Foston, Todd Willis, Colin Rock, Carlos Lee, Sherwin Bessor. Under them, you had the Dwight Yorks, the Jerry Nixons, the Angus Eves. Above them was the Leonson Lewis, the Kerry Jameson, the Hudson Charles. That group of players, in terms of under 19, under 16, and under 14, they carried football up to 2010. Kelvin Jones was also on. Kenwin Jones was also on that youth team with Angus Eve and there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Kenwin Jones, just exited national football. Since that group was being very successful, the association administrations in the past did not focus. We had youth teams, and my key word here is focus on youth development and youth tournaments. Yes, we had youth tournaments, but they did not focus on them like how they focused on that group of players back then. I have to commend the last administration because they began to focus again on under 13s, on the 11 program, and so on. And you see the Judah Garcia and the Malik Khan coming out from that program and breaking into the national team at a very young age. For the past couple of years, maybe for the past 8 to 9 years, you see our national, the age of our national players breaking into a national team in their 20s.
Mm-hmm.
That is too old for you to get your first cap for a national team.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, if you are an international player now looking to come back to represent Trinidad, we just found you in Ireland or somewhere else. Yes, I understand that. But you would have been playing football. So we need to focus not on the present, immediate, seemingly successful resurge of the senior team, but our focus has to be on the youth programs so that we can continually create footballers in the upcoming years.
So you think, do you think we need to bring more players in, more youths in, or do you think that is sufficient now as things go?
It's not a matter of bringing the youths in. They must be able to perform at the level or show the capacity to perform at that level. When I say focus on them, I want to see way more youth tournaments inter interzone youth tournaments so you can see the players who are coming from the Miaros and so on, not just see the players who are attached to pro league clubs, right? I am an advocate for going back into zone football, right? The professional league, even if we want to have a good professional league, the players must come from somewhere. So we must refocus our zone football, have a very strong, powerful zone football. The elite of the elite will end up in the pro leagues, but in the pro league, but the feeder program has to come from somewhere. The colleges league, I do not think produces a very high standard of player coming out of the college league. And you will find that if you start back your zonal football, your north, south, east, west, central Tobago, you will then have something for the youth to do. It has been purported that it is an avenue to help reduce crime as well by having the youth involved in the community. It will get back community spirit. You will see people coming out to watch sport again, and therefore that is where you will find the players coming from, and you will see good players emerging at 16, 15, and you'll be shocked at the quality you get.
I was hoping that you said yes when I asked you that question, because I am an advocate for bringing more young players. And I have two players right now that I think we're not even looking at, that we should be. That is Sadu. And I think Sadu was around the national team with Fenwick, I think. And then I think he got cut from that. And then there's another one who played for Jackie, who played for Presentation. No, he's out of the college program. Sadu, who played for NAPS. And Judah Garcia, your boy, he played. So there is college players out there.
However, yes, but to prepare college players for international football, we're talking international football now, you have to be able to groom them all year round, right? And you must have, and then some of the college players would make a pro league team or would be on the reserve team or the pro league team. But however, even if they are attached to a pro league team, they can be loaned out to a zonal football club where they will be playing consistent football, right? You must be playing consistent football to improve. So if you are on a pro league team, and yes, you're on the best pro league team, W Connections, our Jability, whoever it may be, but you're not getting time on the pitch, right? Your standard is not going to improve, and you will continue. So the youth players has to get games. And if we don't have a reserve league right now in the pro league where they get games weekly, then they will have to play elsewhere, which will be the zonal football.
I'm about to say that the connection should be, and the pro league had it. They had a reserve group. I mean, a reserve
league. Yes.
Where every team had a reserve under 21 or something it was, right? Yeah. So why we got rid of that?
Well, it's not only under 21, because we are here talking about, younger and younger players, right? If we are to reach international standard, pro league clubs in the UK, even in the US now, they find players at 8 or 9 years old, and they attach them to a club and they start grooming them and they start. So that is where we have to find the players from. See talent at that age, have a youth program, have a children's program, under 5 program. I know Hobby Connection has that. They have all the age groups and they have weekly. So therefore they try to, have that as a pattern.
Yeah, but the Pro League had, though. But the Pro League had, we got to give them credit. They had the under 13 or 12
under 16.
Or 13. The under 15, 16, correct. And the under 18, 17, 18. So they had that, but they had dropped the under 21.
Right.
Or the reserve.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. But I mean, I think the Pro League had that, but the only thing the Pro League is not playing.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, we are not able to see the vast amount of players in the regional,
All over the place.
all over the place. If zonal football does not come back, our stock will continue to be depleted in terms of where do we find the players.
No, that I agree with. I agree with. I think we have to have football playing all over the country and bring the leagues back and even play league football and even north-south, bring everything
Correct.
back.
Bring all those things back. Correct. And that is where we have to go.
So how is that going to happen? You going to run for president?
No, Steve, no. Again, I really like that Angus Wright was chosen. I think that we have too much politics in sport. Angus has proven himself at all levels as being a coach. If not at senior team, Angus, in fact, he even proved himself when he had a short stint at the under-17s coaching. Angus should have been one of those coaches. As we talk about grooming players and so on, we also have to groom our young coaches as well. And Angus should have been one of those coaches on youth teams, having a program grooming players so that the players could leave from one section and that coach moves with his team going forward because he has. So I'm really happy for Angus. And I think that as we speak about having younger and younger players opportunities, we also must give younger and younger coaches opportunities as well, especially if we're seeing them perform.
Yeah, and you're right. Everything Angus touched turned to gold.
That's right.
As far as coaching is concerned, I know that. But I don't want us to push him up too quickly on that pedestal because a couple games and we're cruel.
No.
We're cruel people in this country.
If we are being realistic, Angus has always been very, he is somebody that pushes himself, and he's a person that always wants excellence. Even in his playing days, he trained very hard. His work rate was very hard on the field. He ran off the ball more than anybody else, maybe except Hudson Charles. And he has always strived for excellence. And Angus is also striving for excellence in what he does as a coach now, but it has always been a pattern in his life in terms of how he operates in life as well. Always strives for excellence, always strives to improve himself, always strives for the best. So it is not that we are pushing Angus anywhere, right? Angus will continue looking for, and he's also a student of the game. So it is not that we are pushing Angus anywhere, and we don't expect every game to be a good result. At the end of the day, I always say the players have to get the result, and the coach could only help them in terms of getting a result. But the players have to get the result on the day. So Angus, even in terms of who he is and the strategies that he will imply in terms of his way of seeing football, has always been there. And I don't think it's a matter of pushing Angus anywhere. It's a matter of immediately seeing a change from one coach to the next on how the team plays. And you recognize that a coach can be influential in terms of the way the team plays. The team previously, you saw how they played. It was not attractive. There was no energy. The team that is playing now seems to have a purpose. And that purpose is not, didn't just emerge from out of space. The coach had a lot to do in terms of the way of play, the strategic intent of the team, and motivation.
Well, it could be Angus' personality too, because they connect with him, and they're playing hard for him, and they don't feel intimidated by him, or whatever the reason is, he has the head where this is supposed to be. He also has a good coaching staff, a good group of guys, and it sounds as though he's taking input, he's listening to them, and they're forming strategy and how they're going to go out and do it. I'm just saying that based on his interviews and stuff, that when he talks after the game about, they sit down and they strategically plan, this is what we want to do.
And I totally agree with you, Steve. He is not that arrogant person. He's a person that is extremely humble. He loves to talk about football. Mm-hmm. He takes ideas from those he admires as well, and those that he holds in high esteem. Mm-hmm. And he does not think that he's the brightest bulb in the room either. So he will always bring people that could add value to him. Mm-hmm. Not that he has all the knowledge and these people here just help us. He brings people on that maybe he might even think are smarter than him in terms of one area of the game, versus another area of the game, so that he can become a better coach.
Yeah, and I hope you're right on that, because we can only hope for good things for him. And I mean, looking at the game the other night, it took me by surprise. First of all, I was like, this is forward against defense kind of football. And then after the game, when he explained what they came in to do, and he kept some of the better players off because he realized they don't have legs, which I was saying that too. I was like, yep. Molino needs to get fit. And then now Molino is on the bench. So that means he is seeing exactly what I was seeing.
Yeah. Right, not only that, I mean, I am sure of it, because Angus calls me on occasion, and even before he was head coach, and we talk football. No topic in particular. He will talk about college league, and we will just talk football. So Angus is a sponge. Angus calls different peoples and just takes in, and adds what he thinks is valuable to himself.
Okay, I think I seen Jeff came in the room. So let's take a break. When we come back, we will find out where Jeff has been. Viewers, we'll be right back after the break.
Youth programs are not just national youth programs. Youth programs have to start from the zones. Okay, the national team is made up of the best youth from these programs.
We didn't say it was...
That is why I spoke about youth football and zonal football, and going back to find players in the Miaro and so on and so forth. You will find those players from zonal.
Welcome back, viewers. So, viewers, guess what? Somebody just walked into the studio. Let me introduce them, and you will see who it is and find out where he has been. Jefferson George.
Good night, Steve. Pleasure to be here.
Let the viewers know what happened to you, but you were supposed to be here on
time. Yeah, well,
this is a live show?
Everything is opened up except sports, apparently. More traffic than I expected.
Okay. So you okay?
All is well. All is well.
All right. So, jump in and ride with us, because we're talking about interjecting young players into our national team, and Clark and I had some good conversation on where it came from. Mm-hmm. And obviously Clark is saying it came from the previous administration.
No, Steve, I'm saying it came from National Youth Program.
All right, National Youth Program.
Which are no longer there now, since the United TTFA came in. The under 15, the under 13, and the under 11 program Ride went out the door.
No. I have to stop you there because United TTF had never really got a chance to operate. So don't say since they come in. That is not good.
Well, when they came in, Steve, they put coaching staffs on particular
For the youth
teams.
too. Yeah.
Right? So
Jeff was one on
Correct.
the 15.
Correct. And as a matter of fact,
so we were having that.
yeah, as a matter of fact, they had all the youth team staffed. That wasn't done probably since 2005, somewhere around there.
Right.
You know, so it is not accurate to say that they scrapped the program. They actually expanded, you would say, the youth program to have a continuous development of the youth teams. You know, from under 13. All the way
I
up to
mean,
the
it
under
was
20.
not there before. It was there before. We played
No, it
some
was-
under 13
Clarky
tournaments.
wasn't there. Clarky, there was an under 13 and an under 15 team.
Correct, yeah.
There wasn't an expanse of the entire youth program, the under 17s and under 20s. And I'm telling you that the last administration, again, the program didn't have time to run, obviously, because they were removed
normalization
and
gives you-
of the pandemic. But all the national youth teams were staffed for the first time since I'm saying you could go back to probably
And I think that is why,
2005.
right? That is why the normalization committee came in, because we don't have the funds to staff all
Well-
national teams.
Well, that is something that you can say. So probably
Yeah.
whoever doesn't want us to develop, right? You could put it that way as well, right?
Yeah. You were just saying, you're talking about the both sides of the mouth here, Clarky.
No, not
You
at
were
all.
you were just saying that these things should be running. And now you're saying we don't have the money to start.
No. Understand what I'm saying, Steve.
Uh-huh.
When I spoke about zonal football, that is where you will see you cannot just bring players who are not playing football on a national team and expect performance. Remember, you're moving from college league to international football.
No, we're talking
Right?
the youth program.
So therefore, youth programs are not just national youth programs. Youth programs have to start from the zones.
Okay,
The
we didn't-
national team is made up of the best youths from these programs.
We didn't say it was
That is why I spoke about youth football and zonal football and going back to find players in the Miaro and so on and so forth. Right? You will find those
All right.
players from zonal,
apologize. You're talking about the grassroots program that the
all
previous
types, right? You
administration
can call
had
it what you want.
Okay.
But those are the programs that
All right.
is where you will find players to make a national team.
All right. Here, what we should do. We should go back and work on bringing a group together to be the next
Administration,
administration.
I have a lot
for-
of people
Right.
to recommend.
All right, good. So we'll do that. But anyhow, let's get to what we're supposed to be talking about, and that is, and I know, Jeff, the whole topic was supposed to be a couple of the younger players that we think we should be knocking on the door to be in this national team. And like I was saying to Clarky, I called two names, but I know you're going to have a couple. So I would like to hear what you have to say on that.
Right. Well, yeah. The unfortunate thing is we had 2 years. This is closing in on 2 years now, where these guys, the age group that we're particularly focusing on now, would have missed out on that opportunity to be prepared to take the national senior team, right, or to be introduced to the national senior team, and that is unfortunate. I hope that things work out quickly so that these guys can get back on track. The first person that jumps out to me is someone who actually had the opportunity just recently. That is Keston Julian, right, a young left back, or he can also play on the midfield, left side of midfield. And
How old is he?
he's 21. He's 21 now, right? And he came in the Bahamas game, I believe. He got a knock and came off. He was actually one of the persons looking very, very, lively on the left-hand
Into the
side.
youth program.
Yeah, he was at Presentation College. He is playing in Slovakia now. He played actually last week in the for the team in Slovakia, Sheriff. He played the 90 minutes in their UEFA Champions League qualification game. Their team won 4-0, right? So he is, I think, one who we are definitely going to be able to benefit from. And he's in a position where he's getting regular
Playing time.
international playing time, right, which would benefit us as well. There's a young centre-back who played, he was on the under-15 team, played with Carpichaima, Pascal, right? He impressed me. I saw him in the under-15 tournament. For me, he was one of our best players. Very calm in the back, modern centre-back, playing well with the ball out of the back. He could comfortably play a midfield role, right? And I thought he was very, very, very exciting. I would like to see, again, what he would have to offer. And again, he's just about 17 years old now, right? There was Jaron Jackie, he's from Cedrus. And
Presentation, captain.
Presentation College, yes, he was a captain at Presentation. He left for Portugal.
And we never look back to see what he is.
That's what I'm saying. So he has not come back into the pool. He played with the under-17 national team, all right? But again, this is a player I believe has a whole lot of tools, right? His work rate is unbelievable, right? His mentality, his demeanor, he's coachable, right? Very humble young man and loves the game. Absolutely loves the game.
I think this is an advantage because Angus, being one of the top college coaches, he will be very familiar with the young players that are there. You know, he has a vast knowledge of that. I mean, I just want him to have the ability to have a wider youth base by having zonal football come back into play. And, you know, you're having the South Zones and the North Souths, and you're able to see and players getting to play, youth players getting to play at a higher standard and regularly.
And regularly. Because that is something that that our youth development suffers from, the lack of being able to play. Right? You can train as much as you like, but if you aren't playing competitive games, that the game becomes something that is, foreign, something that is unusual, and it takes a while getting adjusted to.
Yeah, no,
if we look at the
game fitness is a different type of fitness.
It is different.
Yeah,
right?
Training.
And when you look at the youth teams that Trinidad and Tobago, our competitors, they play on average 15 to 20 games a year, right? 15 to 20
international
competitive games.
Competitive games.
International games. These are not training games or friendlies or so, right? These, this is what teams like Costa Rica, we're not even talking about the US because they're in a whole
different level with their tournaments.
Right? Yeah, with the,
year round.
And a very high standard. These are the teams that are really pushing and turning out young players at a great scale. Now, that is something, when you look at our model, even when we set up training, national team training, the opportunities for these players to have international competition and exposure is something that we definitely need to provide an avenue for. And whether it is inviting teams like you mentioned, to form some type of competition throughout the year, or allowing these teams to be able to travel, even regionally, right? It makes a difference because when you get onto the senior team, a lot of our players, even at under 17 and under 20 level, some of these players are going for the second or third time to play, and the experience sometimes is too much, so they have to overcome the experience along with overcoming the opponent. So you're playing.
Right. What about looking at youth in other countries that will see Trinidad as an opportunity to lift themselves. Venezuela. I don't know if you saw Venezuela play Brazil. That game was magical. You have other Caribbean countries where it is, because I'm seeing a trend, and we don't seem to recognize that we could get some sort of benefit from this trend. Look at the England team now. England has never been in a final for how many decades. Look at the composition of that team. A lot of the team playing on the field, their parents were from Jamaica,
a lot of them.
Trinidad, Nigeria,
Barbados.
Barbados, all over the place. We continually feel that, and they bring different styles and flair into the English game versus what we only produce. I am sure that, and they make it a point of trying to get these players become nationals of their countries, and therefore they can now represent for Trinidad and Tobago, and so on and so forth. I remember at one point in time, Shaka Hislop was being, he had a choice whether if he played for England or Trinidad. Yeah. And he decided, but
I believe he played a couple of youth games for England, I believe.
So are we looking at, is our association, at one point in time we had a whole heap of St. Lucian players playing.
And Brazilians, we had
and Brazilians as well. Playing in Trinidad for W Connection.
Yes.
Why don't we see the need to say, well, okay, come be nationalized, bring them as part and parcel of our national outfit, because some of the skill level that they exhibited, we didn't have at the time, with our national teams. Even our professional teams, you will see a better, because W Connection proved that.
Yes.
That the type of football that they played when they brought in the St. Lucians, W Connection had players from Haiti, from St. Lucia,
Sierra Leone,
from Sierra Leone, from Brazil, from Colombia. W Connection team was made up of players from all those countries, and then you recognize the type of flair and attractive football you got. Those players could have been incorporated in our national team, not all, but some.
That's not fair to the nationals, though.
Well, England, France, those seem to mind.
No, well, I take the point that like you're saying, but again, it has to tie into a strategy by the administration to add to the player pool. Right now, Jamaica currently they are doing that again, but it's more like returning nationals. But all the countries do it. America is loaded with persons who aren't
immigrants.
Because when we went to America and play, the America didn't have the players to put on the field.
Yeah.
So the thing was, they must have at least 2 Americans on the field. So the other 9 guys in the 11 was foreigners. Now that's giving them a chance to develop. And then they add more, and they add more. And now it's like you can only have maybe, I don't think now like that, but it reversed to maybe you only need, in Mexico, when we played in Mexico, me and Archie went down there and played, you only can have 2 foreigners.
Right.
And the rest has to be Mexican.
Local. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so now you fit, and that's what I'm saying. So, it must have some mechanism of control, right? FIFA on their side has put in that, and those restrictions have been relaxed by FIFA. So now it's easier to have persons, nationalized and play for your country. And again, Jamaica has, openly pursued an avenue of increasing their player pool by, getting those persons who have, parents, grandparents, living in other parts of the country and playing at a high level.
But I am saying this, our Pro League does not have a large fan base. mainly because our football is not that attractive. Our Pro League football is not that attractive. And the only team that had a lot of fans coming out to see them was W Connection.
That's not true. When Point Service Civic Center came into the league, they had big crowds.
That I am speaking about right before that, Steve.
Well, you didn't say
Civic Center came in after.
Right. But
But I agree with you.
Even so, I would disagree that the reason why there's not a large crowd is because the football is not attractive. People
So you
are
think the
willing
football is
to.
attractive?
That's not my point either.
Oh, okay.
My point is this: people go and look at unattractive football when it is available and when it's viable for them to do so. Right? You would have minor leagues playing in the community, right? And you're going to have a lot of people there. The football is attractive, but there's an interest there, and that is what we need to get back to. So you have. You go to, or you look at some of these games in the Scottish Premier League. It's difficult. You can't look at that game and say you're enjoying it, But that's what we had to get back to. So something that gives people interest so that they go and look at it.
And Clarky says it's W Connection. No. But W Connection played good ball. I'll tell you about W Connection football when we come back, because I was impressed with some of W Connection football that they played in the past. Viewers, we'll be right back after this short break.
Persons are going to leave here to go and play in Scotland or Denmark or anywhere else. The football may not be great, but there's an economic benefit to that, right? And that is something that we definitely have to sort out as well, if we are to improve the persons who are going to be attracted to play in the league.
Okay, welcome back, viewers. Okay, so let me set up our last segment here, Clarky. I want you to know that when Civic Center first came into the professional league, W Connection had a team, is either the first or second year, that I thought was the best pro league team we ever had in this country. Because, and I'm talking about the way they play, and I complimented Stuart E on that, because I tell you, they had these like 5 across the middle, 1 on top, and like 3 or 4 in the back, and they played the ball to the guy on the top, and then it's a track meet to come and pick up and join in with him to play. And I thought, whoa, I was crazy about this team. So I do like don't feel I don't like the W Connection team. I do, but I like this team very much, and they were full of foreign players at that time.
Yeah, exactly, and that is what I'm saying. For any system to work, you have to have the tools or the players to make the system work, and Trinidad just does not have enough of that to spread around to all the pro teams. And that is why you find that W Connection, Army, Jablote will always be on top there, because where they come, the Jablote, our Jablote players, they always produce quality players from that area. The Army gets the best of the best because they are providing employment, right? And W Connection had the financial capability to import players and produce better players from importation.
Okay, so let me finish. Now, and the next thing was the crowds. Not because what the foreign players was the crowds, because we have Point Forward Civic Center who bring people. And I'll tell you who else. Guaya.
Yes.
Guaya and TN Tech.
TN Tech was, yeah.
So TN Tech had great players, national players. Yeah. Or Trinidad, Point Forward Civic Center.
TN Tech also provided employment.
Correct.
So it became a kind of army. And Trinidad back in the day.
Right.
When there were the Philbert Jones, the Latapi, the Leonsi. Yeah.
So you see,
provided employment.
There's also that the pull for the players will always be an economic benefit, right? Yeah. Steve, when you went to the US, it was an opportunity to go and ply your trade professionally. right? So again, that as the professional league declined, it became less attractive for persons to go. And again, I'm saying the spectacle is good when the football on the field is good, but that's a different thing than being able to attract players. Again, I'm saying persons are going to leave here to go and play in Scotland or Denmark or anywhere else. The football may not be great, but there's an economic
Correct.
benefit to that, right? And that is something that we definitely have to sort out as well if we are to improve the
Correct.
persons who are going to be attracted to play in the Pro League.
So the new administration we're going to form, we
They're on
need
their own
to
with that.
we need to encourage some foreigners, because we have some Venezuelans who live here now.
Yeah.
People on hard times, some other people from the other islands who live here. Like we went to the U.S. and do the same. So it's a revolving door, of course. So we need to get that injected into our football. Foreign players who has some ability, who we can play among, who that would make us better.
Yeah, and right, remember the association, whoever they are, does not have to run the league, huh? Right? If we pull together investors and, right, we could, right, the league is not tied to the association. So I will gladly get involved in, right, managing or overseeing a league that is not tied into the administration of TTFA, right? And you can get investors to come in, make it economically attractive in terms of, right, salary and TV rights and so on and so forth. You get in football on Fox, FS1 and from, right, Jamaica and right, you see in so
Sportsmax.
Sportsmax and so on, right? So you can get finance in terms of TV rights and so on and so forth. And if we make the league more attractive in terms economically, you attract players not only from the Venezuelans, but from, right, as I told you, Hobby Connection had players from Sierra Leone, Colombia, right, St. Lucia, Haiti, right? So you can attract players from all over and lift the standard of your league. And that is the only way Trinidad football is going to move forward. If we continue playing amongst ourselves, right, mixing mud, you will stay there mixing mud all the time. You have to have different influences and different styles to come up against that to be able to improve your standard.
Yeah, playing against good players obviously raises the level of the bunch, and that's why, you know, the top leagues in the world, you know, invite and court the best players to come to play, you know, so that the product is improved.
We need a TTYFA. You know what that means?
No, Steve.
Trinidad and Tobago Youth Football Association.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, I've been advocating that, and I advocated that several times on this program already, that just as how you have your colleges league, I was saying at the time that the college league should be that. Instead of being a college league only for colleges, you should be that. There's nowhere else in the world that the college league has so much rating, right? University football in the States, you don't hear much about university football, right? You hear about university basketball, you hear about, right, university baseball, but you don't hear about university soccer, right? You don't hear about school football in the UK. You hear about the clubs having their youth teams playing amongst each other. We promote the college league whereby you, and only the top colleges right, are always on top all the time. You're not going to get and improve your player pool through the college league. And I've always thought that the college league was more of a hindrance to progress than helping progress. Yes, you will identify a few, but football is not a sport of the intellect, meaning that it doesn't mean because you're bright, you will be good at playing football. Bright in terms of academically, right? Football in Trinidad and Tobago has produced some of the best players from the rural areas who do not basically possess that academic inclination, you know? And therefore, if you stick with the college league and think that that is where you're going to get your best players from, and don't go back to the zonal football where you have your little leagues in the country and so on, right, we will continue declining because the best of the best are not being seen.
Well, I don't think academic ties in. I'll tell you why. I think everybody has some kind of academic ability. It's just that some people are lazier than others. So when you really apply yourself, it happens for you. But you're right about we do need the U.S. for example. If you're going through the college program, you have to have a certain grade, otherwise you can't play.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think we need to push that to keep them at that level, but we do need a league where we can get people flowing.
I think that's where the focus is. Last time we had a discussion, that view with the college league and so on, and my views on it. I wouldn't go over that, but again, the important thing to effect the change that we're speaking about is to get a league, community-based, that touches all the areas in Trinidad and Tobago, right? And that is very important. Now, again, if we are to develop this properly, eventually it will supersede the colleges league, right? And I think that is how we should approach that. Develop something, grow it, and ensure that that becomes the premier place for football development, because that will be its purpose, right? Whereas you have the secondary school football now, its purpose is really not to develop players, right? Players get an opportunity there to play some competitive games and so on, a few games for the year. So by any standard, that model cannot be your development model. It cannot be, all right? So if we are to do it properly, if we are to, and it existed before, as we mentioned, but is to get that youth football started in the communities with sound coaching, with good investment in terms of the coaches and the facilities that they're going to be able to practice and so on, with a strategy of increasing the reach of players, where your national coaches can now come and scout these players playing in the environment competitively. That will do well for our development.
You know, and sometimes I wonder, what is the purpose of the Ministry of Sport? You just, if you don't get involved in ensuring that where you spend or where you give right subventions to people in terms of their sport, you must have some measure of interest to make sure that your money is being spent properly. You are giving, if it is that you have a league, you give money to this league, but then you don't, there are no...
follow-ups.
Not only follow-ups, you should have some measure of not only control... Feedback. You should, right, they should be playing on what their objectives have to be. It must be for national development. It mustn't just be this small group of people get some millions of dollars to run a league. And it doesn't impact, doesn't impact on the national benefit of what we're looking for.
But we should make that happen, though. Let me tell you why, how. The veterans, when we when we got implemented into the part of the TTFA, so we have a vote and all that kind of stuff. So now we like a league, not like a league, like a SFL or POSFL. The Veterans Football Foundation, or whatever you call them, us. I said to them, let's run the youth throughout the whole country, youth football. And I said, let's do it by county, St. Patrick, Victoria, that. And because we have ex-national players every part of this country. And if we can set up all these ex-nationals who part of the veterans, we can make this happen. Now, we write the whole program out for them and everything, and we went through it. All we had to do now is to take that to the same thing you're talking about, Ministry of Sport. We want this program funded. And we're running it. It's happening because most of us retired anyway, and the younger ones can come and help, and the retired ones could be still participating and giving information and helping this to happen.
Steve, we have so many qualified coaches in Trinidad and Tobago right now that can be employed through the Ministry of Sport and that can be allocated in a particular area or county, as you say, and a program is run for youth. You can place, in fact, Jefferson is the interim president of the Coaches Association.
Right.
The people that are registered as coaches under that association can be employed if a proper program is set up through the Ministry of Sport, placed in different counties, regions, cities, whatever you want to call it, and basically start a proper program, which could be under the auspices of the South Zone, the East Zone, the Central Zone, whatever it is, and they get some sort of report, not like Live Sport. Please, not like Live Sport. I was happy when I heard Live Sport and what it was supposed to do.
But not, and I don't want it under the zones. I want it like, and I'm mimicking the AYSO, American Youth Soccer Organization. On a Sunday and a public holiday or a Saturday, you go to the U.S. and the
everywhere
place is flooded with
youth
kids.
football. Even on one field, they have about 10 games going on at the same time.
And there are parks for that. And
Correct.
then after that, McDonald's is full and all the different children. That's what we have to have to make this work for us.
There's definitely a real disconnect, a lack of interest in sport. And that comes from your administration level, right? Not the member association, but your government, right? And we can paint it how we like, but we don't, sport is not important in the minds of our national leaders. It's not. We use it for mileage. When something good happens, somebody wins a gold medal, we show up in the airport, we want pictures, political mileage. But other than that, when it's time to invest, they're not around. They're not interested in that.
Or even if they do invest sometime, Jeff, it's just to
just to say,
give you some
it's just
money.
to say,
No, just to give you some money and what's the outcome
there's
of it?
no real tangible benefit to the national setup. And I think there has to be some change in that for us to get improvement.
So I mean, it's just something that they need to structure, and we need to structure it properly. All right, any parting words before we go?
No, I think it's very pertinent that we get our youth development programs up and running if we have to have a future in sport.
Yeah, that is important. That is definitely important. I think we've seen some positives out of the last couple of games. I know we have to be patient because we are rebuilding, all right? But I think there are some positive signs, and we need to invest in the youth.
All right, you think we're gonna win the next game?
I am not looking at the end results right for the next game. I want to see continued improvement in the way we play.
Okay.
And if we get a good result out of it, so be it.
Good. I like the comment. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you as usual. ASCTN, thanks for the opportunity. Viewers, thank you for tuning in every Monday night. And we do repeat on a Tuesday at 1 and a Saturday at 1. We have a Facebook page. You can check us out. We have an email address, petergreenkt@gmail.com. There you can drop us a line. This show has ended. Go in peace. My name is